Hello, welcome back. I told you it was going to be a good day today. Oh, I'm so thrilled to be back. I've had 2 weeks off and I'm actually back on the best day ever. I did watch Yvonne the last time she was on with John, and I know how gutted he was that he wasn't here for the final row of the month. So if you're watching, John Scott, yeah, he will be watching. He will be watching. It's the last row. It's the last row. I can't believe it. How is everybody getting on? I love the fact that through the duration of the quilt, we've learnt so many new skills with Yvonne, and hopefully it's built up your confidence in quilting, and you've managed to almost complete a whole quilt, which is so exciting. So obviously row 1 from the bottom, row 2 with the little cat there. We've got the applique flowers. We've got the houses. We've got the flying geese units, and then the final row at the top is the row that we're going to be focusing on today. Now, we noticed as well, not only do you get the final row, you also get your binding, and the prices, well, it hasn't changed. The price hasn't changed. It's still $31.99. So your row of the month, the final row and your binding, are these really beautiful star blocks. So row 7 are the stars. Now these have already been selling all morning. Those of you that have been waiting for them, absolutely check out now. Those of you that are a bit late to the party and thinking, do you know what, I haven't seen row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, row 5, no, row 6, don't worry, because we have got the individual rows and we've also got the whole bundle now. We can do the whole kit bundle. So $31.99. I know that we're against the clock. We've got a lot to get through this hour because it's also bag making week, and we've got some of the Village Fabrics kits as well. But as always, with Yvonne's bundles and kits, and especially with the row of the month, everything is really well thought out, so you don't need to worry about the fabrics or the colours. They're all picked out especially for you. So you've got everything that you need all in here, including your needle for your binding, to hand finish the back of your binding, because that's the nice bit. I always think you've done lots of bits on your sewing machine, especially this time of year. Sit with your quilt on your lap and just do a nice bit of hand stitching, which is lovely. Oh, I must say hello. I just had a text message come through in the break from Barbara and Willie, hello, who are watching on their new TV, and they've never been able to get Sew Street for some reason in their old house. They said, we've managed to get it on. So congratulations, because they became grandparents as well over the last couple of days with lovely little Birdie May. She's a tiny, tiny little, she was only £5.6, and she is just the most gorgeous little girl. So yeah, welcome to the world, Birdie May. Yeah, so well, I'm guessing they're kind of cousins, aren't they now? This is Kieran's aunt and uncle, so we're just saying they're cousins anyway. Amazing. So yeah, sending you lots of love, lots of love. $31.99 anyway for the last block of the month, or the last row of the month, which is your stars row. Okay. Those of you that haven't yet secured all of your other rows, just very quickly before we go over to Yvonne, should we do the whole shebang? Never done this whole, we've never had all of them, so we've never been able to do the whole bundle before. I've got the first 4 rows here already, but I know that Yvonne is basically making up a second quilt. She's got the other half there as well. So it's £210, or I hadn't even considered, today it's on split pay. You've got 3 split payments. You're not paying any extra for the privilege of splitting it over 3 months. You'll still receive it after paying the first payment of £70, and you can get on with your sewing, but then you can split the payment over 3 months, which is brilliant. So this is obviously row 7. If we go back to the start, did we put them in order? Kat said yes, I did. I put them in order earlier. So this is your log cabin row, which you can see here. So you've got row 1, and it also comes with row 2, which is your rail fence row with the lovely cat. But at Yvonne this time, you can see she's changed it up on her second quilt and put some lovely little butterflies. So, I mean, it's up to you. You can adapt it, and it's really exciting to see how people have slightly changed the quilt on Facebook. It is also available individually. If you just want to buy row 1 and row 2, you absolutely can. If you want to have a go at these blocks and incorporate them into different quilts or into cushion fronts, or if you've missed out a week by accident, then that's row 1 and 2 together. You also get thread in there, you get all of your instructions, all of your fabrics, everything that you need for row 1 and 2. And of course, all of the demonstrations have been on air, obviously, so you can watch back with Yvonne. And she also did, it seems so long ago, but I remember her recording when you first set up your machine and how you get going with starting a quilt, and the same with the end. So as we're coming to the end now, there is a video on how to bind it and how to quilt it, do your quilt sandwich. There is a full YouTube video as well for that, which is brilliant. So that's row 1 and row 2. We're then going to go on to your applique, which is your lovely flowers. These are beautiful, aren't they? And the fabrics, I remember, were so gorgeous that are chosen for this. So you've got your applique flower row, which is here. That's row 3. It's on your side graphics. It is on the website. You do get, again, all of your thread, even a hint of liberty there. Love it. Just scroll down on the website and you'll be able to find it. Row 4 is the houses. Now, again, you can see on mine here, let me pull it down slightly. It's in a bit of a different order to the one that's on the wall behind Yvonne. So you can mix and match, you can change the order around slightly if you so wish. So it's up to you, you can still make it your own. I know lots of people have done embroidery on the top of it, have added different hand stitching embellishments. So there's lots of different options with it. Put numbers on the doors, things like that. It's brilliant. Row 5 is the village shop. So you've got trees and you've got the shop. Now, didn't you say last time, Yvonne, that somebody had made it into a little cottage as well? And there's, again, cottage. It's lovely to see different people's personalisations, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely wonderful. I think it had come about from a little bit of a miscut, but the result was a really beautiful little cottage with a, you know, it's a shorter building and a different coloured roof, and she'd done the most beautiful embroidery on it.
Oh, gorgeous.
Things growing up the walls. It was gorgeous.
This row, I noticed the attention to detail, that you've even got this sort of scalloped tile effect fabric.
Yes, for the roof. Yep.
Perfect, absolutely perfect.
And of course, this is your FPP row. That's your foundation piecing for all the trees.
Brilliant. So those of you that are a bit scared of foundation paper piecing, it's manageable. It's not too scary that you're doing a whole quilt.
No, you're just doing three different trees.
Yeah.
I hate doing it. So, you know, if I can do it, folks, you can make 6 trees.
Oh, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And then finally, your flying geese, which is row 6, which was last month. So in your bundle, you also get, obviously, row 7, which is the one that we're looking at today. So everything is in the whole bundle, 3 split payment options, £70 today, or of course you can just purchase it all in one go. It's up to you, £210. So it's so lovely to be back with you. I haven't seen you, I don't think, since I had Maisie.
No, I think I was your penultimate day before you went on maternity
I was
leave.
So waddling around.
Well, one doesn't like to pass comment, but yeah, we've all been there. So, well, they always save the best to last, don't they? So
absolutely.
You come along and you get to finish off the quilt with me.
Love it, thank you. That's, especially if John's watching, he'll love that.
He won't speak to me again. Anyway.
So these blocks, they look like stars, don't they? But they're 2 different blocks, am I right?
There are 2 different designs.
Okay.
But the key to this row was showing people the effect of colour and where you put your colour, because the graphic isn't on this. I'll point. Can I point?
Yeah.
Because this star is exactly the same as this star.
Yeah.
But the colour positioning makes it look entirely different. And we then have done an easy 8-pointed star here, and just finishes it off. We had to come up through the sky, and we thought the stars were the final row. So if I can just tick off a few things that I really must say to people. We have been putting the quilt together in 2 separate pieces. You can keep it in 2 separate pieces and layer it up and do a sort of quilt as you go thing, so that you just have one join across the middle if you find you want to work with a smaller piece on your domestic sewing machine. for quilting. The final piece is not that big. It's only 40 inches wide, so a standard width fabric will provide your backing for that. And it's not too long, so you can just join the whole lot together, layer it up, sandwich, so you've got your top, your wadding and your backing. And I would suggest that you put some really fine but stiff wadding in. That's how I would define the Hobbs heirloom. So that
is
it
this
gives
80-20 or
it's
is it
an
just
80-20.
Right, okay.
It's an 80-20 because it lies flatter. So if you're going to use this as a wall hanging, I would suggest that you want something that's going to give you a really flat vertical finish, yeah? So we have put Hobbs heirloom in the sample that we have completed behind me here. So just think about your construction. This top row has a lot of seams in it, as does the row that has the flying geese in it. So that's another reason that we are going to join the top row onto this smaller section, and then you've basically got half of the quilt here, and then you would join the two halves together. That's how I'm going to finish it off over the weekend. Now, the really important thing is, whenever I was making up the samples for today, I find we have a typo in our instructions.
Okay.
So the front page of the star row instruction, the cutting instructions, blue, so this is all of the sky element. The second line down says that you should cut 4 2 7/8 inch squares. That is incorrect. You need to cut 4 3 7/8 inch squares. We're sorry, it's a typo. Everything else is 2s down that line, and that should have been 3 7/8. That affects blocks 1 and 5.
Right, okay.
So the first one and the last one, and it's the sky pieces that go, it's these pieces, that piece there, yeah, and the same on the end here. So just take note of that.
No, thank
you. If
you
you run into any problems, you just give us a telephone call and we'll sort you.
Brilliant. Thanks for demystifying that for us.
Well, we try, and I'm really quite impressed that over all the months, there's been 2 typos.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty happy with that. Now, as everyone knows, I never make the same thing twice. I get bored. So I have been using my imagination, and the idea, as I said earlier, of this top row was showing people what different colours in different positions how it can transform a block. So what I have made so far is I have one of these. Oh, let me pull that a little bit further down. Yeah, so I have one of these, but I went for a bit of sparkle and a bit of glitz. Yeah. Oh, that's a bad position. Let me move over.
No, don't worry. We're moving the cameras for you. There you go.
Okay. So look, I've got sparkle. So I thought that my stars across the sky could actually graduate in colour. I could go from light right the way across, and that one I think is actually not going to be the last one. It's going to be there, and this one is going to be there. So I have made 3 stars to go across the top. The idea was going from dawn to dusk across from, so I'd say. I just like to fiddle. Anyone.
Well, they're all the same size blocks, aren't they? So it's up to you how you place them.
Well, I would say that don't fiddle too much because the fabric pack is designed to allow you to make 2 of the Sarah's Choice blocks out of the grey and the plum colour.
I'm with you.
And then the jade and the yellow allows you to make the economy blocks, which are blocks 1 and 5, and the diamond star. But obviously, if you want to add in some fabric of your own, which is what I've done with this,
with the
sparkly one, then
Yeah,
go
for it.
ahead.
Yeah.
And that, of course, then opens up the opportunities of using the other fabrics in different ways. As always, follow my instructions. Do as I say, not as I do, and carefully cut the pieces out. I would suggest you might want to separate them out into little separate bags so that you can keep the pieces together for each of the blocks. I am going to show you how to make the diamond block, which is the central block in the middle. I just refer to here, so I'm going to make this one, and I'm going to make this one, because these are the only two designs there.
Yeah,
okay?
brilliant.
But it doesn't look like it.
No, it doesn't. It's the clever placement of fabric, isn't it?
Well, this is it. So as always, we have diagrams in here with sort of sequencing as to how you should be putting these together. So this is the economy block, which is 1 and 5. I'm going to, I think, going to do the Sarah's Choice block, which is blocks 2 and 4. I think I'll do it first. These are simply half square triangles. So whenever you are cutting triangles, you really should put a little bit of spray starch or some best press, something like that. So just a smidgen before you cut, not after you cut, before you cut your half square triangles. I have put half of this block together because it's repetition and we have a busy hour. Always lay the pieces out. This is how you check that you've got the right size pieces in the right places, yeah? So this one is going to go there.
Is that a bit of liberty, I spot, as well?
It is, it is. There we go. Let me pop that in there.
I love that you've thought about the different scales of print and not just having a plain blue for the sky. It's slightly sort of mottled, isn't it?
There is too much of it to not put something
with a bit of interest to it.
With a bit of interest, it would be far too solid. Now that's the wrong way to put that one in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue and, oh, this is interesting. There we go. That one is going there. Right, whenever I do this, you can see where the half square triangles are
It's like
going.
a jigsaw puzzle, isn't it?
Well, it is, and I've put that in the wrong place because look, what I want is that
to continue,
line,
yeah.
So I've then gotten that. Oh heavens, there we go. Okay, that's that row, and that's going there.
Yeah, obviously you allow for your seam allowance, don't you? So
absolutely, yeah. So we're going to sew these half square triangles together. Hopefully, I'll kick that along there. So you've set your sewing machine up for whatever seam allowance you have been using throughout the rest of your quilt.
Okay, so as long as it's consistent.
Consistently 1/4 of an inch on your machine.
Yeah.
It has been causing me a little bit of trouble over these rows because I've sewn some of it on my machine at home. I sew some of it here, and Linda, my colleague who helps design at the shop, has also stitched some of these on the machine in work. So we have 3 different 1/4 inch allowances.
Every machine is slightly
they're
different.
all just a thread different.
Yeah.
And
but as long as it's consistent.
as long as you're as accurate as you can be, yeah. I'm just going to chain piece these along here so I don't have to worry about having lots of threads.
I find that helps with your consistency as well, chain piecing.
I do as well. Some people, well, as always, I make one complete block first.
Yeah.
Check that
it.
you have all the pieces in the right places, the right size, yeah.
And I also think with the benefit of this doing half square triangles is if you get a corner like that, my machine doesn't like sewing on just a little corner, it chews it up.
It chews it all up.
So if you're doing chain piecing, it eliminates the, you know, it stops it from chewing the corner.
It does, and oh, I'll never get used to sewing Stanton up.
Well, Becky was here earlier. She had one shoe on and one shoe off. And she says, "Oh, I can't sew with my shoes on. I'm so used to sewing barefoot." I was like, "Well, take both your shoes off." Then she was there with one shoe on and one shoe off. It's the first time you've met Becky.
It is, yeah. And I was. I'm not a bag maker, but she makes some wonderful bags. I would almost be a convertee.
Oh, she's brilliant. And she's a quilter as well. In fact, she's watching in the green room. She's just put, I love the blue sky fabric against the bright colours of all of the other fabrics used. It really does work. This is the great thing about Yvonne putting together all these kits, is everything is thought of.
Oh, yeah.
Takes a long time, doesn't it, to put together the kits?
It does, and I've got to say that whenever I'm choosing for myself, it takes even longer. Oh, I must say to you, my floor is down in my kitchen at long last.
I heard you talking about it with John last time. I nearly messaged in and you said it's all done, and they had to keep coming back with the readings of the self-leveling compounds.
Yeah,
and I know all about it.
It stinks to high heaven, that stuff. You could get high on it. So, how may I switch this on?
Right, so the base is on, so it should just charge itself. It only takes a few seconds to recharge itself.
Okay. Half square triangles, we're obviously going to press to, I'm finger pressing a little bit here, we're going to press towards the darker colour, because this sort of plummy colour is a lot darker than the blue.
Right, give that a try again. Is that hot?
Wouldn't have said so. Do I need to?
Maybe Becky said it on lower, I'm not quite sure.
Okay, well
the blue light's on the base, yeah. So it should be charging.
Well, let us merrily continue.
Yeah.
What I want to show you by way of how you're pressing this is, because you have this diagonal seam, you do not want to be pressing along the length of it. You want to be pressing across it, so you're not stretching the seam.
Right, can you just drag your whole board across and we can see how you're pressing this then? Because this is quite integral, because you don't want to warp it, do you?
I don't. So, and that's why I'm hesitating to finger press too much. But let me do this one. So I'm going across, yeah, going across like that. I'm not going along like that.
Right.
Yeah, I'm going that way.
Do you use these wall pressing mats? More in your shop?
I don't. I am an old-fashioned sewer, because I've sewn for all of my life. And I just didn't have a lot of gadgets.
Yeah.
They weren't around whenever I started to sew. So I don't use them. I have a good quality ironing board, and I have a pressing mats like this, but I don't have a wool one.
No, they're really good because they
absorb the heat.
Back. Yeah.
So we're going across the seam, not along it. Yeah.
Yeah, we think there's an issue with the iron. We'll have a look. We'll get the technical team, Elliot's technical team, or Kat. Kat loves this iron. This is the one I've just bought. Mine's fine, so it must have a...
So, having squished all of this, we are back to reconstructing this block, okay? So we have to put these half square triangles together in the right manner, which I almost feel as though I'm a bit dyslexic this morning. There we go. That's where I want that one, isn't it? Is that where I want that one?
If we show you the picture and the preview there, then you can see how it is.
There we go.
Sometimes I find it hard to look at it like that unless I've taken a photograph or seen it in a picture. Then
I know I have to have my two that is what I have to create. You have to create a flying goose shape, yeah. So that is going to go there. So again, 1/4 inch seam.
We think we're up and running with your iron.
Thank
We've got
you.
a great technical team / Elliot. Are you happy, Yvonne?
No.
No. There's a picture of it on the preview, if that helps you at all.
Right, look, that has to go there, doesn't it?
Yeah, you need to make that top flying geese unit. So you've got a blue square and then a bottom grey, top blue, bottom
How about that?
plum. That's it, perfect.
Let's go for it. Once I put these two together, all will be well.
Oh, whilst we're looking at pictures, Lynn, hi Lynn, by the sea in Cornwall.
Okay.
Lynn has sent in this photograph. This is not a picture, that is her view. And
Oh,
look
I
at her
know.
quilt.
We're so envious of this view.
Look at where she's quilted. That looks beautiful as well. What an amazing job you've done on the quilt. Hi, lovely ladies. Here's my quilt so far. Looking forward to receiving the last row. It's been an absolute pleasure to make, and I've learned so many different techniques. FPP being my favourite.
Oh,
yes, Lynn.
well done, Lynn. It's just not for me.
She said, I should be looking forward to the next sew along. Love to all at Sewing Street from Lynn. So, we'll talk a little bit about it before the end of the show, but watch this space. Block of the month coming early next year. So we'll talk about it at the end of the month, at the end of the hour.
Okay, I'm just going to finish one of these rows off so that I can't confuse myself anymore.
Oh, Fiona, on the same. I think it's a real sort of skill in itself. Fiona's just messaged saying choosing fabric is the real headache. She says, I spent hours walking, 4 hours walking around Malvern Quilts last Friday trying to choose fabric. I think it's a skill in itself, or it's something that it does take a lot of time to think about colours, scales of print. Does it work?
I think one of the most difficult things is to envisage what the fabrics will look like in small pieces.
Yeah.
Because some of the big prints are so intimidating unless you think, but it's only going to be a 2.5 inch square, or it's going to be an inch wide border or frame. So that, besides choosing your colour, you have to think of the impact of that particular design in its position in the quilt.
Because they're all lovely strong colours, yet not one outshines the other. They all just work together really well. That's what I love about these kits, Fiona, is it's done for you. It's done for you. Don't need to worry about, is it going to work? It just does work.
It is something we do in the shop for people every day. So we do it every day. So perhaps it's not as intimidating for us as it is for some people. If they're not very careful, they can walk out of my shop with blue quilts because I like blue. So.
Is that better?
Yeah. I don't. So, what I have, is that is going to sit in there. You then have your squares that go on either edge. Oh, I do this all the time. I lose bits of fabric on the desk.
Especially when you cut it all and prep it all and bring it here.
Oh yeah,
there it is.
See, it's always here. They just, you know what I think the problem is? When I'm at home, I have this huge area and I just sprawl. But whenever you're here, you have to be just a bit more compact so that the cameras can...
Remember the old studio, Yvonne?
Yes! Oh.
Do you need even more space? You didn't see it, Jessie. It was tiny. You couldn't swing a cat in there. It was tiny.
Yeah, but remember I built an extension to my house so I could have a studio. So, you know...
That is dedication to the craft, absolutely, Jessie. I've had a message from Joan. Hi, Joan. Right. Okay, Kat's saying get your pen and paper ready. She says she's got all the dates for you, Joan. Hi, at Sewing Street. I've bought the full Village Street Quilt set. Would it be possible to get the dates that Yvonne has demonstrated? Can you remember them off the top of your head?
No. I know
Good job, Kat can. Kat can remember them off the top of the head. So, are you ready, Joan? We all started back on the 18th of the 5th, which is the 18th of May. So the first one was 18th of May. Rows 1 and 2, the 18th of May. Row 3, 22nd of June. Row 4, 27th of July. Row 5, 17th of August. Row 6, 28th of last month, September. And then today, which is the 19th of October today. If you go on YouTube, if you type Sewing Street on YouTube, we actually have a whole playlist of all of them there. So you don't need to keep jotting in all these days. They're all there. If you do want all of the dates, there are all the dates. But there is a full playlist. And don't forget, you also have Yvonne's extra YouTube videos, which weren't actually on the show, but you did one at the start, didn't you?
Yeah, yeah, we did a sort of introduction table runner, which was for a beginner's project.
And you did another one to finish it?
I did how you cut it out, and did a whole piece on how to quilt and how to put your binding on.
Brilliant. So you've got all of that to watch as well, Joan. Thank you for your message, because I think a lot of people will be wondering that. But if you haven't yet got your whole bundle, you can. It's the first time that we can do the complete kit, the complete quilt. £210. We are now limited on the complete kit. If you haven't yet got row 7, this is also limited. Also limited. You get all of the fabrics that you need ready to make this lovely star row. Have a look on the website below us for all the previous weeks. Or months, I should say. If you do have any questions, get them in. Right, back to Yvonne. Where are you now, Yvonne?
Well, I'm sewing a complete row onto the, I'm sewing rows together.
Do you have points to match here?
Yeah.
So have you pinned at those points?
I have pinned at all my seam intersections on both sides of securing the seam allowance in place. And yes, I am one of those people that sews over pins, but I do not do it at breakneck speed, as you can tell.
But what's your excuse?
I don't do it at breakneck speed.
Okay, doing it slowly.
So that I am actually allowing the needle the opportunity to slide over the pin as it's supposed to go through it. And I don't do it that often. But you really do need to secure those seam intersections. And yeah, I'm just about there. Going to, you want to press.
Is there a way you press your seams? Or just the way they want to go?
Generally on these, I want to press to the outside of the block. It just seems to, they do seem to want to go that way, don't they?
They tell you which way they want to go. They do.
So this is the row I've just, so I'm going to again press to the, I'm pressing to the outside squares on this occasion so that I'm not doing any more, but putting any more bulk in the inside. Now, I'm not going to sew this on because there's no way I'm going to get through everything else I'm supposed to get through in this hour at this point. So that is going to go there, and that is that block complete. And that is going to be my final block on my row. It's going to sit there beside that on my row. Now, the other block is the diamond block in the center, which is, we refer to it as block 3. This is, you have to start in the center, work your way out, but again, I have made quite a lot of this one up because I thought I was going to be a bit pushed for time. Bet you, yep, so that one I'm going to put here. This top row is already done and the bottom row is done because all that is exactly what I've just done. except we're using the same colour here and here. Yeah, no. And no, this is a proper flying goose. Proper flying goose.
Which is the same design block that we were doing in the last row?
No,
no,
my mistake, I misspoke. In this row, we are making a proper flying goose in that.
Will you just show me it to your left, please, slightly? Have a look on the top. There we go. We're just messing it. That was perfect.
Okay.
Thanks, Yvonne.
So this is the unit we're going to make.
Perfect.
So we have our large triangle with 2 small triangles on the side. So a flying goose. And I'm going to stitch one of those. And what I wanted to just point out, and is worth doing that, is that you need to, when you are joining the 2 triangles together, you need to have something level so that you know where you're starting from. So I've matched up the point along the base, the long line of the triangle, yeah? And I've got a little bit of an ear sticking out at the top.
Right.
Yeah, just there. So two triangles.
That's your 1/4 inch.
That's still, we're still, yeah.
Your
So,
little dog ear.
My little dog ear. So whenever I come to the end of it, end of this seam, my needle should be coming off where the top fabric ends on the base fabric. So it's just coming off. It's just coming off here, where my fabric ends, where you can see it here.
Oh yeah, perfect.
So going to press that away, and I'm actually going to press. No, I'm going to press that way because that's how it wants to go in this instance.
Do you find fabric talks to you as well, Yvonne?
Oh, I talk to myself consistently. Yeah, I sort of grumble at the fabric from time to time. So that's relatively straightforward to find where that small triangle is going to sit on the larger triangle. Just going to sew this, and then we're going to come back to the center of this block where we have 4 triangles going round the square.
So you make 4 of those units.
Yeah, and you then put the 4 squares onto the corners. Okay. So that's going to sit on the side. Yeah, I'm just going to press that out.
Do you leave your dog ears on, or do you cut those off?
I normally cut them off. I'm just really pressed for time.
Yeah.
As I should have sewn a little bit more in the green room before I...
That just plunks on. Should just plunk on. Doing that iron today, not getting along.
Do you know, I was thinking to myself, I don't get on well with the equipment I don't know.
Oh, we're all the same. I had a hire car the other day, and I thought straight away, as soon as I got in, I thought, I have no idea how to drive this. Don't know where the window wipers are. Don't know where my lights are.
The indicators.
Yeah. It's when you're not used to it, and moving into a new house, I didn't know how to use the oven. I ended up turning on the grill. All the smoke alarms went off. I was like, I don't know how to put the oven on.
So you're putting 4 triangles around the central square. If you just have a quick look on here, you can see this is where we're going to be. Okay. Now you have to get the triangle centered on the square. Mm-hmm. Let me just...
Right, how do we do that? How do we make sure
how
that
do we
it's
do
centred?
that? Well, it's one of these little... You fold your triangle in half, and you finger press a little seam there. Sorry, a little crease, not seam. You do the same with your square. Yeah. and you've got a little crease there. That then sits there. And this I would put a pin in. Okay. And I do, this you have to do seam at a time. You can't chain piece this. It's better to just take your time. There we go. And we are going to just press that seam. Yep. So same process again. You're going to fold.
Find your centre.
Find your centre, just flick it so that you've got a little crease just there. Going to do the same with the triangle. And again, if you, I of course haven't put any best press on this, but you should do.
Before you cut it?
Before you cut it.
And that will help it to stabilise it almost?
It stabilises a little bit and it'll let that crease sit in a little bit better.
Right,
you know.
okay.
So I'm just going to, again, I'm going to pin through that.
We've got about 10 minutes left, Yvonne. So
yeah, that's going to be interesting, isn't it?
I know, and then we've got to talk about the bags as well. We've got to talk about the project that you've got coming up in the new year.
So you start talking about something there.
Okay, all right then.
Yeah,
what I'll do is I'll remind you of how you can get the whole bundle, and we can round up the quilt before we then do the other project. So Nicholas just said, bought the whole quilt kit for my husband to gift me for Christmas. He doesn't know about it yet.
Good plan.
Very good plan. Well, he'll always say, well, what do you want for Christmas? I don't know what to get you. And you say, don't worry, it's sorted. I've got it all ready for me. Anne just said, morning, ladies. I'm late, but got the row. Vix, what about the wadding, binding and backing? So I'll tell you. Binding comes with your row. So if you've already bought it, this is row 7. It comes with your binding. Your binding is the dark blue. It's included already. So your wadding... Yvonne has suggested the Hobbs Heirloom 80-20.
So it's 80.
Now this is queen size, so it's absolutely huge. It's plenty. You've got enough to do your quilt and then other projects as well. In fact, every other project that Yvonne's doing today, you'll be able to do with this with this wadding. So don't worry. If you are buying this today, you'll have plenty left over. £32.99, but this is the one that. That Yvonne suggested.
And whenever we talk about 80-20, that's 80% cotton, 20% polyester. So the polyester simply loosens the cotton fibres. So it's a bit easier to hand sew. So Brilliant. You can hand sew this or you can machine. It's very versatile wadding.
You mentioned about backings. Now, because Yvonne said it isn't, a huge wide quilt, you don't need to worry about getting extra wide backing fabric. So there are loads of cottons on the website. Have a look. Any pattern fabrics. We're talking about even using calico to back it. Creams. Any of your liberties, maybe. You could back it with a liberty. Depends on how you're using it.
That's almost a waste, isn't it, to put that
Well,
up
it depends if you're using this on a chair.
You're right.
And it's straight.
Then you
if
can,
it's going on a wall, then... maybe not, that's quite indulgent. But you've spent a lot of time on it and a lot of money, obviously. It's worth making sure it's finished beautifully with your hand-sewn binding, with your lovely fabric of choice on the back. Have a look through the website. We picked out some blues, but it's up to you. Now, I know as it's bag making week, we were supposed to squeeze in a bag into this hour. If we haven't got time, don't worry, but we have got the Sandra bag from Village Fabrics. We've got the kit, which makes up this one here. So this is a beautiful bag, and I know it was very, very popular when you launched it, Yvonne.
Yeah, it's French linen.
Oh, it's gorgeous. All of the French linen is included in your kit, along with your lining fabric. which is the silver, and then also your poplin, your spotted beautiful pink for the bows and your straps. It's absolutely beautiful. Look, with your lovely little pleats as well. If you do want to watch this demonstration back on YouTube, it was back on the 28th of the 10th, last year. So October last year, if you do want to watch it back, but it's a really, really pretty bag. And of course, it's Village fabrics, so everything in there is quality and really well thought out.
I will try and do sort of the highlights of that bag if I just show people what this row will actually look like.
Yeah, if you just bring it down
row,
slightly. Yeah, perfect.
What my row will look like. It's going to look like pale, going to medium, 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 to the dark.
See, that's really a good idea as well, to ombre it. That looks great.
That's my plan. And the difficult bit, and it's just not it's not difficult, you just have to take your time, is you have to match up seam intersections across the previous row, because you have 2.5 inch pieces here and you have 2.5 inches here, so these seams
will match. You don't need to trim these blocks down. They'll be all, as long as you've stuck to your
If you have sewn accurately, there is no trimming.
Brilliant.
No trimming. We only ever trim our applique blocks.
Anne's asked, how much backing will I need?
Can you just look on month one for me? The width of the quilt is 40 inches, so standard width fabric will give you 42, 44 inches, so that's going to be sufficient in width. I think lengthwise, it'll tell you in that little leaflet, it's 50 inches, is it? I just can't remember.
50, it's 50 inches by 40, yeah.
Okay, so 50 inches long, so you're going to need about 50 inches, give yourself 4 inches, 2 inches top and bottom, that will be 54 inches. That's something like 1.40 m. So
Okay.
1.5 m, just to give yourself a little bit of leeway.
Yeah, brilliant. And there are plenty of different cottons on the website. If you are losing a plain or a calico, not needing to worry about getting extra wide as well, it's brilliant. So there are loads of colours you could pick out from the front of the quilt to go with. Yeah,
it was designed with that in mind so that you didn't have to have a huge expenditure on fabrics for
absolutely.
the...
I can't believe we've done the whole quilt. We've all got through the quilt. So, right, anybody who wants to get the whole kit, remember, all the rows together, £210, 3 split payments of £70. For the first time ever, this whole kit is now available, and it is available on split pay. 7 rows, all with thorough instructions, all with the fabrics that you need. And you can, of course, sew along at home with all the videos now on YouTube. You don't need to wait for the next month. Do you know, it's like, you know when you watch a series? Like Line of Duty, everyone used to watch it every year, whereas I watched it all in like a couple of weeks, and everyone had to wait 6 years to watch it. I like doing that, just binge watching it all. So if you do want to do the next row without have to wait for the next month edition, it's all there on YouTube now, so you can watch it all.